government of Venezuela confirmed there are no members of the extinct Tren de Aragua criminal organization among the 238 migrants deported from the United States to El Salvador. And in Panama, government authorities repressed teachers who were demonstrating against the Social Security Fund reform. Israeli occupation forces have mounted incursions into 3 key areas of the Gaza Strip as part of their ethnic cleansing plan to wipe Palestinians off the map. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Caracas, Venezuela. We'll begin with the news. Stay with us. The government of Venezuela confirmed there are no members of the extinct Tren de Aragua criminal organization among the 238 migrants deported from the United States to El Salvador. The Minister of Interior, Justice and Peace of Venezuela, Diosdado Cabello, informed so during the program Sin Truco Ni Mañas. Cabello unveiled that national security forces compare an unofficial list of the names of the deported with an organizational chart relating members of the extinct Tren de Aragua group and similar criminal organizations. Furthermore, the minister assured that the United States is using the neutralized criminal organization to stigmatize Venezuelan migrants. In this context, Cabello also criticized the actions of Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele, describing him as a tool of imperialism.
Here we have not received anyone from the Aragua train. They kept saying they are from the Aragua train. It is not true. It is not true, and I must say it responsibly. Yesterday a list of Venezuelans that in theory are in El Salvador came out. We also have, because we have been doing that work, we have been updating it. We have the organization chart of the criminal groups, of what is left of them, because we have hit them hard right and left.
And journalistic investigations revealed contradictions in statements made by the government of El Salvador regarding the deported Venezuelan migrants. The research unveiled that at least 1 of every 5 kidnapped Venezuelans are irregular migrants and not people linked to the extinct Tren de Aragua criminal group, as both the Salvadoran and U.S. president have claimed. The source further explained that the security cabinet of the Salvadoran government believes there are some 50 innocent people among the over 230 kidnapped Venezuelans. In addition, the study assured that the Bukele administration supposedly promised to review each case of the foreign nationals and to grant an alleged differentiated treatment. And the government of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela issued a statement to reject the ridiculous sanctions of the colonial government of Canada. The statement indicates that Venezuela strongly rejects the new and useless sanctions imposed by the colonial government of Canada against Venezuelan officials in a pitiful attempt to please the orders issued from its metropolis in Washington. In an act of shameful submission, they have decided to act as a mere executor of the aggressions plan in the U.S., confirming what is already evident. It has ceased to be a sovereign country to become the 51st state without its own voice and with a diplomacy dictated from the White House. The text also states that this colony, with the pretensions of an empire, has fallen into absolute ridicule by pursuing a hostile agenda against Venezuela. Its lack of personality and political dignity has reduced it to a mere instrument of useless sanctions, aimed at pleasing the interests of others, regardless of the contempt of the sovereign peoples of the world. The statement concludes by emphasizing that the Bolivarian government does not recognize nor will it ever recognize these absurd measures and reserves the right to take reciprocal actions against the officials who have taken such measures. Venezuela remains firm, sovereign, and determined to resist any aggression with dignity that characterizes the Bolivarian people. The President of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, highlighted the need to modify the laws so that there is prevention and appropriate sanctions for cases of missing persons.
Del número de desaparecidos. ¿En qué fecha se dieron?
To talk about the number of missing people, the date of their disappearance, where the sources come from, and to continue searching and modifying the laws to allow prevention, to punish them, and to continue searching for the victims of disappearance and to support the relatives. This is a matter. And it is linked now to disappearance because it is very important, mainly to organized crime, because there was a time in Mexico where forced disappearance was done by the state. The government disappeared people who were politically against the government.
The Mexican head of state also affirmed that she will not issue statements on how to deal with the policies of Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele and demands the same respect for her people and her government.
I am not going to begin a debate with Bukele. We could have a whole debate here about the way they are dealing with this. He was elected by his people, but at the same time we ask for respect for Mexico.
We now have a first short break coming up. Remember to join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. We're going to be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. In Panama, government authorities repressed teachers who were demonstrating against the Social Security Fund reform. Local police attacked teachers and workers from other unions who were distributing flyers in the area of Cuatro Altos in the province of Colón. During the repression, officials of the crowd control unit detained union leader Alberto Diaz, who was with members of the Union Movement of Educators of the Republic of Panama and the Single National Union of Construction Industry Workers and Similar Workers.
In the face of the legitimate right we have to protest, to fight, to mobilize, to march, our fellow educators of Cologne, and all the organizations that came to the call of a march to be held in Cologne are being repressed by this government, that bets again as in 2010 on repression in Boca del Toro, because that is its perverse plan of wanting to impose a disastrous law for the entire population. All workers.
We urge the Panamanian people to join the fight against the dictatorial regime of petty dictator Mulino because he cannot do whatever he wants in the country. The country does not belong to him.
And ignoring the demonstrators' call, Panamanian President José Raúl Molino assured that he would not back down on the law that privatizes Social Security, leaving the most vulnerable without access.
He who does not work does not eat. And I believe that this is an issue that has been overcome. These groups were the only ones that neither proposed nor suggested any solution to the Social Security issue. They had almost 6 months with all the doors open to do it, and they did not do it. And we are not going backwards. Social Security is recovering through a law. It is not perfect, but it is better than what we had. And what is surprising is that many of these faces are the same faces that were on the board of directors of Social Security for all these years and saw the institution fail in front of their eyes. So now no, and no and no. And the right to protest is intrinsic to democracy, but so is free transit. Both are guaranteed in the same constitutional article, so I hope they protest within democratic, peaceful, civilized guidelines. That is the most I can say at this moment.
In other news, in Haiti, clashes broke out in Port-au-Prince during a citizens' protest demanding the executive to protect them from armed violence. The incidents occurred in Canap Verde neighborhood as demonstrators urged the central government to intervene in the face of escalating violence they have been suffering since February. In contrast, local police forces attacked protesters with tear gas. Demonstrators considered that the authorities have failed to dismantle the criminal armed groups that control more than 80% of the city. The UN warns the international community that without urgent action, the situation will turn into a humanitarian catastrophe. In Ecuador, at least 300,000 people have been affected by an oil spill in the province of Esmeraldas. Crude oil has polluted the river Esmeraldas, which supplies the cantons of Rio Verde, Atacames, and Esmeraldas with water to make it drinkable. The families protested to denounce the lack of this vital liquid. The spill was caused by the rupture of a section of the Trans-Ecuadorian pipeline system. From this city, crude oil is exported, which crosses the north of Ecuador through pipelines that start in the Amazon. The UN warned on Thursday that the disappearance of glaciers is accelerating due to global warming. Authorities affirmed that glaciers will not be able to reach the end of the 21st century. In areas of the European and American continent, since their disappearance is becoming faster and faster. Experts say that since 1975, the glaciers have lost a large mass of ice, calculating some 9 million tons, equivalent to a block the size of Germany. The UN warned that this situation threatens an avalanche of consequences for economies, ecosystems, and population. In 2024 alone, more than 450,000 tons of glaciers melted. And the United States Wall Street Stock Exchange trading is heading for its fifth consecutive week of losses. The New York Stock Exchange traded with volatility on Thursday, March 20th, and closed with negative numbers in this context. The Dow Jones Industrial Index fell to more than 41,000 points, while the Standard Index lost about 5,662 points. The Nasdaq Composite depreciated to 17,691. Wall Street has been volatile for weeks due to the uncertainty derived from trade war launched by Trump administration, which threatens to aggravate inflation. Now I have a short break coming up before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English. There you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage, and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Found your break, we'll be right back. Welcome back. In Israel, demonstrators continue to gather in front of the residence of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to demand the end of the genocide against Gaza and the release of all hostages. The protests come amid a renewed Israeli offensive in Gaza and ahead of a government vote to dismiss the head of the internal security, a move that undermines the balance of power in Israel. Netanyahu's cabinet unanimously approved this request to dismiss the head of the Shin Bet Internal Security Service, following the presentation of a Shin Bet report on the attack of October 7, 2023, in which it acknowledges the security agency's failures and claims that the Netanyahu government's policies created the conditions for the attack.
We are here in Jerusalem, near Prime Minister Netanyahu's residence, to remind him that there are hostages in Gaza and that they must return home. War does not bring hostages home. War kills hostages. Hostages are not safe in a war environment.
And Israeli occupation forces have mounted incursions into 3 key areas of the Gaza Strip as part of their ethnic cleansing plan to wipe Palestinians off the map. The occupation army invaded not only the Shabura refugee camp in Rafah, but also northeastern Beit Lahaya and other nearby towns, including central Gaza. Zionist forces harnessed artillery shells and heavy gunfires to seize the Palestinian areas. The advance of the Israeli offensive on the enclave brought about both an unprecedented humanitarian crisis and thousands of displaced in their attempt to roll with the punches.
There was a lot of shelling around us and there were people killed. The children were extremely terrified, so we left in a hurry without a clear destination.
Fear gripped us before we left our homes. And even here in this camp, there's still fear. We were displaced from Beit Hanoun and have moved between displacement sites more than 10 times.
The president of Tunisia, Kais Saied, removed Prime Minister Kamel Madouri from office after holding the post for 7 months. In this regard, an official statement informed that the Minister of Equipment, Zahra Safrani Senri, will be the new Prime Minister and the second woman to occupy the position in the government. The authority did not give more details of the dismissal of Madouri, but specified in the missive the need for Safrani to meet the expectations of the Tunisian people. Technocrat Kamel Madouri was appointed Tunisian Prime Minister in August 2024 during a major governmental reshuffle in the country. And the Russian government accuses Ukraine of terrorism after the attack on the Sutsa gas station in the Kursk region. The spokeswoman of the Russian Investigative Committee, Svetlana Petrenko, assured that she opened a case against the Ukrainian armed forces after revealing that the military detonated the gas pipeline, causing serious damage. Petrenko affirms that this action undermines Kiev's credibility in terms of compliance with a possible ceasefire against energy installations. For his part, the Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov confirmed Russia's commitment not to attack Ukrainian energy infrastructure. Like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Also join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For Telesur English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thanks for watching.